The goal is to bring you your next favorite band.
Thanks for having us. This is a very cool show.
Yeah, so through many iterations, and we finally landed on the weirdest one by far.
Yeah, simple of feelings, and boom, you got a sound.
I remember this one time. I'd been writing some songs, and I went out. I'm just going right in on this story. I went out, and so I was.
The story's longer than the song itself. We'll go ahead and play it.
And listen, it's going to be everybody's favorite band. Welcome to your next favorite band. That's both the show title and our promise to you. We here at Stereophilia Studio are tireless in our pursuit of finding incredible, genre-defiant artists who are either a hot up-and-coming band or a group that has been delivering for years but have flown under the radar. Today, we have the Musikfest recap for 2022 live from Bond Place Brewing. Each month, we will bring you live streams, audio podcasts, and perhaps even a live concert where you can listen to the stories and hear the music of artists personally curated by us based on what we feel will be worthy of your time. Be sure to subscribe and tune in to each episode because the possibilities are endless and you never know who will be your next favorite band. Hello, hello.
Good evening, Phil.
Good evening, David.
How are you tonight?
I'm doing great because the sun finally went behind Seatown Town.
We're a few minutes late as a result of holding off on Mother Nature, more or less.
We held off because otherwise we would have burst into flames.
Well, Phil's side of his face, the whole back of my head would have burned off, so that would have been also, we'd have to see who fell down the rabbit hole first of worst sun-influenced discomfort.
Correct, which it is kind of like a Music Fest-ish.
No, that's actually a perfect definition of what happens when you hang out outside for 10 days in August.
Correct.
So, for the sake of discussion, I am David Moore, the co-host of Your Next Favorite Band.
Well done, because I always forget this.
I know.
And I'm your host, Phillip Reese, and this is
Your Next Favorite Band.
I won't think I will ever get tired of the way that the voiceover stuff works in that opening.
Well, I mean, yeah, there's something to be said for that.
Yes.
I mean, there's a whole other way we could approach it, but why?
Yeah. Well, I mean, a lot of people are like, "Oh, it's too long," and this and that, and I'm like, "Yeah, I know, but you know, it's just my hobby, and I had a fun time editing all that together."
So, because it's a hobby, we will also be playing board games in the background, which is one of my hobbies. Is that not? We should cross them over. That would be
your next favorite board game.
Oh God, do you know how many YouTube channels there are for?
I'm sure there are.
I mean, like it'll make your brain melt on how many of those there are. That being said,
and speaking of brains melting,
well, let's talk about Musikfest because
let's talk about Musikfest.
So, I think for the sake of putting a little framework on all of this,
Carver Commodore's tuned in,
and also is it looks like pepper wine as well too. So the next favorite bands are here. But for the sake of a little context for anybody that might be catching this out of order or wants to jump ahead to the end, Musikfest is a 10-day festival that happens in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. In the first 10 full days in August, though sometimes they cheat and go into July in a day or two. And it is the largest free, non-gated music festival in the United States. So that's worth talking about because that's...
And shattered records this year.
Well, right. So I'm pulling that up right now. I sent you a text earlier today because they were actually conveniently, and this was not planned, they released the numbers on attendance today.
Yep.
So the total attendance this year that they're quoting is 1,240,000 people from 39 states, Washington, D.C., and 8 countries. So
8 countries?
So the number is...
How did they get that one? Did they ask everybody?
Right.
No one asked me what country I'm from.
Me neither. And I'm sort of upset by that because, I mean, I look like I'm from here. You might be Scottish. I met a woman from Wales, and she literally looked at me and said that to me. So, I mean, it was one of those moments where I was like, well, you've just completely picked off my family's ancestry.
Correct.
So, 2019 was the last record that was just broken. There might be an obvious reason why it took that long, why it took to 2019. And so that is the record in 2019 was 1,226,000 people. So we are up, let's do some quick math, 14,000 more people.
Sure. I'm bad at math.
Well, I know part of this comes from the sake of they can roughly guess by volume of people, and they have more venues this time, because that's part of the thing that I want to talk about when we get later in the review.
Yep.
Versus the last couple of years. For 2020, for obvious reasons, 2021 was a limited Musikfest. So we're not here to talk about those years, though. We're here to talk about 2022.
This year. Yeah.
2022. So,
and what kind of marked it for you? Like, what was the after having been there, you were probably, 8, 9 of the 10 days?
I went 8 days. 8 days this year. You went all 10.
I did go all 10.
Yeah.
That's like 4 years running for me.
That's almost a thing. Like, that's weird. Like, that's, I mean, I'm not saying I went 8 days. Like, it makes it sound like that I did something like completely normal.
Right. Bonkers.
So, I mean, from a personal note, I talked to you about this. The thing for me, so I had a medical procedure on my ankle in May, and so mobility has been improving, and getting to this, because you literally had a conversation with me when I told you I was having this happen. You went, well, what about Musikfest?
And what month did you have that in?
May.
Yeah. So I was already worried.
Yeah. So I was able to do most of the things I wanted to do, which to me sounds fantastic, because that is what the goal was. So for me personally, that was.
Yeah, no, I totally
mean, I
get
could
that.
have mostly gone to 8 days of, I don't know, any music, and I would have been completely like, how do you feel? Pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Mm-hmm. And also, it wasn't 8 days of you like driving to a spot and putting yourself down. You did walk. In fact,
yes.
We did the tally on this.
Yes. Because of technology.
And this, I don't know how he came this close to me, because I did 10 and he did 8 days. I walked over those 10 days 113,000 steps and 45 miles.
Yeah, so I was 91,000 steps and 42 miles.
Yeah.
So
I think it's because you walked home and I often Ubered home, because I was like.
Yeah, well, I think there's a combination of two things. You and I live relatively close to one another.
Sure.
But I live closer to where the festivities happen from
True.
where my house
Yeah,
is. So as a result, for me to drive, I actually have to park the car if I use one of the Arts Quests, who is the people that bring you Musikfest's parking lots. I actually have to walk almost as far from the parking lot as I do from my house. So the hardest part is less the walk down, but more the walk home, because it is somehow infamously in the parlance of my grandparents, it's uphill both ways.
Yeah. And there is some truth to that. In Bethlehem, you can walk in a certain pattern that would have you uphill both ways.
Which I sort of did on both nights because of how I was routing things.
Yep. Yeah. And one of our preview guests, actually our hosts for that preview night,
It's true,
was the Flying V. And they're here tonight. Christy, do you want to come over? So,
Hi.
hello. I'm going to change this here. This might pick up a little too much background noise, but now it'll get all of us. But hi, how are you? Here, sneak into the shot a little bit more. So yeah, Flying V, Christy Vimazol. I got it. I've nailed it now.
it was only attempt number 4.
Yeah.
I mean, so, but that's good. You got it.
Yeah. But lean closer to the mic a little bit, because that background noise is really getting picked up.
right.
But so how was the week for you as a food vendor?
It was crazy.
Yeah.
It was record breaking. Like
That's awesome.
saw a lot of people.
Yep.
It was really good.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And then the one fear you guys had was that you were low on potatoes
Yes.
leading up to the festival, but I found out you did not run out.
We did not run out. We over-ordered, but we did that on purpose because
Yeah.
there's still a serious potato shortage going on right now. It's really hard to find potatoes.
And so wild.
yeah.
As we conclude our second part of Irish history here on the Your Next Favorite Band
Yes,
podcast.
post 1600.
Yeah.
Did you know? No. Anyway, so great for you that was a successful week. The weather was perfect.
Weather was awesome.
Yeah.
It, did not
It got
rain.
better as it went.
Yes.
Which
Yes.
is always one of the best parts about it, where it started very August. August was flexing pretty hard at the
Yep.
beginning,
Yep.
but we got some downright remarkable days at the end of it.
Oh my gosh.
Could
The
not
last
beat those
4
days.
were, if you wanted to write down on a piece of paper your top wish for what the weather would be like during Musikfest, it was those 4 days.
Well, and so we had Bobby on, and he got it, and he was saying Wednesday, and it turned out to be Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So I mean, his forecasting was about as close as you can possibly
pretty
get.
accurate.
Yeah, considering we were talking to
He
him.
nailed it. And
We
I
were talking to him 9 days before that would have happened, so that's pretty impressive.
I said that to him too. I was like, leading up, I'm like, hey, listen, I know you might be able to do that opening weekend because we were on Tuesday. So I was like, 4, 5, 6 days in the future. That's probably the most. The whole second half, I know you'll talk about trends. He's like, no, I think we can pretty much predict it. I'm like, okay, well, listen,
I thought
you
it
do
would
you.
get rain every day, and then apparently it just missed us every single time.
Every time.
I would get text messages like, hunker down, rain's coming, and we'd like get ready to put our sides down and like move things inward, but like it never came.
Never
it
happened.
Just never happened.
Yeah.
So it's great.
Yes.
So how many times did you get the poutine?
Poutine was 3 for me.
I was
Really?
I was
Yep.
twice.
Okay.
I got it from each end of the border.
Yeah.
Okay.
Once at the truck and once at the fest plots.
Did we have the short rib
I
then?
did get the short rib.
Okay.
I did that
we
on the
ran out of that a bunch of times.
Yeah, no, I did not get short rib, but
first day I got the short rib. 'cause it
Okay.
was
I will
there,
say-
and I went there.
Yeah.
of those, only once I went wanting it and didn't get it. But that's okay. I will say, of the 3, 1 was intentional, and the other 2 was late night
Yes.
yummies.
The cravings.
Yes.
Well,
And I was like, I need poutine.
Yes.
it's devised around that though. I mean,
Yeah.
we discussed that, right?
Absolutely,
I
yeah.
mean,
So yeah, that was definitely cool. But and then the music side of it, we talked about this a little bit before. You're stuck at the Fest Plots tent, which is probably fun for the first couple of days, and then it starts to get a little bit
Monotonous. Same
a
thing.
little repetitive
Yeah.
because it's mostly cover bands,
Yeah.
a lot of polka.
A lot of Bruno Mars covers.
which is actually our next episode.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're gonna do an entire episode on Bruno Mars covers.
Really?
No, we're not.
Not yet.
Okay. Well, you could if you went
The
to Fest
second
Plots.
Tuesday of next week.
Correct.
So we'll squeeze that in.
Yeah, the 16th. But the one band you were excited to see that you were going to try to go see that we didn't, they got canceled, was the Beaches,
Yeah.
because they're a fellow Canadian band.
Yes.
But the good news is
region of
that
Toronto.
we talked about it on the preview show, is they're coming back to Philly in October,
Yeah.
and we're all going to try and go see them.
We're gonna go. I can't wait.
Yeah,
It's gonna be fun.
yeah. And opening for them is Hotel Fiction, a different band that played Musikfest on a different night, and they're touring together in the fall. So
Cool,
I
really
think that
cool.
will be, both of them were highly touted. I didn't get to see either of them. Well, one canceled. The other one was actually at the same time frame as Carver Commodore, who tuned in tonight, which is very exciting. But they, I wasn't going to miss Carver because I also knew I could see Hotel Fiction on that other night.
Right. Yeah.
And they were just so far away, like south side, north side, you weren't going to be able to make it work.
It's tough. It's close, but it's like it's not close enough. That you
It is a good 45-minute when you make the decision to change from north side to south side.
Walking?
Whether you walk it or do the shuttle,
Yeah.
you can drive or do an Uber if that's really aggressive. You can maybe do it a little bit quicker than that. But finding parking and walking, I mean, it's a
tough.
30 to 45-minute venture.
Yeah.
So,
If only they would put in a footbridge.
or a light rail, or like
Bethlehem
a
Municipal
zip line. Zip line would be nicer.
Zip line.
Musikfest zip
Ooh.
line would be amazing.
I'm interested
I feel
about
like the
that.
liability on that might be a little tight.
Also,
but,
what does the airspace above the railway need to be for that to work out?
Yeah,
Like, I mean,
there might be some issues.
Yeah,
there.
logistics. We'll figure that out.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
that's all technical.
That's fine,
It's a
yeah.
great idea. Go.
Go. Yeah, make it work. Make it work.
Just have people sign
What-
releases
what's
beforehand.
what's
you
our
know?
budget?
Yeah. There's
So
a
any
bungee cord
right,
and-
exactly.
Let's go to Lowe's. Make it work.
Yeah. All right. What could go wrong?
Yeah.
Well.
Any fall new recipes coming out? Anything there, or is it just
You know
sticking
what?
with the traditional?
I will fully announce this.
Nice,
First
breaking
time,
news.
Breaking news.
Breaking
because I
news.
haven't said it
Routine
yet.
news.
Has anyone watched the show The Bear?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
I have. Yes.
So Chicago beef.
Mhm.
Uh-huh. Yes.
We were doing a Chicago beef routine.
When is the day that will be released so I can get in line? My schedule is now been,
It's cooking right now as we speak. We started
my
at
schedule
noon.
has been cleared.
Yes.
Beef has been braising now since noon, so it should be done around like 8, 9 o'clock. And we have the pepperoncinis, we have the little spice, and we have the pickled vegetables on top.
Oh my God.
Like it's gonna be like the
Exquisite.
perfect combination of like
I'm literally
really
looking at my
good
schedule
beef
right
and
now.
Set
like
the alarm.
acid
Yeah.
on top. It's really really good.
So you heard it here first. Bear poutine.
Yeah, the bear poutine is gonna be on.
What
special
time do
this
you open?
weekend. Tomorrow noon. It will be on. Yeah.
He wanted it for breakfast.
No. There's a reason I'm asking is I have tickets also tomorrow. I'm derailing the fact that I have Iron Pigs tickets, and so I figured, but I could come down for lunch. That's literally what I was asking.
Done.
Yeah, it's gonna be good. One of our employees actually, a lot of people watch the show, and I also enjoyed the show. Hit a little hard a few times. I was like, this is very accurate.
Yeah. You got to work the turkey through.
It was tough, but he went ahead and made it at home and said, I think this would be a great special. So shout out to Will.
Nice job, Will.
Yeah, he was like, you know what, we should do this. And I said, let's do it. And we encourage that creativity at the Flying V. And I'm excited about a new special. We've been doing a new one in a while. We do a lot of repeated favorites, but this is a brand new one.
Awesome. This is exciting. And hopefully by 1 o'clock-ish, I'll be swinging by.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. Oh, look here. Love the Bear. We stopped by Mr. Beef 2 weeks ago. How about that?
There you go. Perfect. So add fries, cheese curds, gravy. It's like
it just got better.
Yeah,
it
might even be like Canadian Chicago, like Wisconsin-ish.
Yeah. Like how can we? Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I like that.
And look at it. So now we have Mike Lorenz tuned in. They're there, the tribute band for Radiohead.
He's coming back in September.
Oh, nice. More news there.
So we have Mike Lorenz and his jazz trio, right? It's this trio come and play at the Flying V fairly regularly.
Yeah. And we do like a jam session, so it's open to anyone who wants to just join.
So it's almost like an open mic.
Yeah.
And by Mike.
Open,
but not Mike Lorenz.
Open Lorenz.
Just like the mic.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm
not going to determine any preferences for him. Yeah,
sure.
Let him make all his choices.
Mike. Yes. Yeah, absolutely. We all love Mike. And
that's why I'm teasing.
We are going to approach the festival a little bit chronologically. So we are going to get to. They're there. You guys are going to come up real soon. The Witherbees, Carver Commodore, Pepperwine, they were all the second weekend. So we will get to them a little bit later. But trust me, we are going to get to all this cool stuff. We've got some cool video and highlights and such, but then also we're going to share some of our favorite moments. But so did you get a chance to enjoy any of the music, or was it just spin and spuds? Got it. So then here's the thing. We will pause your commentary for the Hotel Fiction Beaches show down in Philly.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. But Christy, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you guys.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, and I think we're going to do more shows from the Flying V, as long as you'll have us.
For sure.
Awesome.
Anytime.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers to you as well. So, David, let's put this back on. This will help us with some background noise. That was the setting. Is that the one?
Yeah, that's the one.
Yep.
Yeah, because we've now reduced the band that we can't mention that
Correct,
was playing in the background. Though you could win a prize, not really, if you mention the correct band in the comments.
Yeah. I'm sure you're here in the background. We have to talk over it so that we don't get shut down by the YouTube bots. But anyway, so here we are. Let's start at the beginning. So on Friday, 8/5.
It's been that long already.
Right. We started things off there. My day started with Best Friends, which was on that Stodplot stage, which so many people loved. Like that, the addition, the bring back of Payro Plaza was huge.
I think that's worth. Hold on, I'm going to see if I can bring it up while you're talking about that. But it was the most requested Musikfest feature from people that have been long-term Musikfest fans.
Yep.
So for the sake of anyone, again, who's tuning in for the first time, Stodplot is the newly named but was a location that was used for
I have a shot here of it. That's what it looked like.
It is right. So it was in a location that was called years ago. Was it Ameriplatz?
It was Ameriplatz or Americaplatz, which then they carried that name to Southside.
Correct.
When the Levitt stage.
When the Levitt stage opened, when the Southside facilities, like the ArtsQuest Center and everything, part of that arrangement, if I'm understanding my history correctly, was that ArtsQuest would not perform at that space. And so, but that has been the thing that's been requested the most frequently by Musikfest fans is the return of that space on the north side.
Yes.
And
they met it this year. Mayor supported it. Obviously, Cassie and all of the leadership of ArtsQuest supported it.
and they brought it back.
Arts Plots would be it.
Arts Plots
is
that's what they need to name that small stage. But yeah, so they brought it back. They named it Stadplatz because of that being a town square for
right,
Bethlehem.
It translates roughly to town square, which is, I mean, it literally is next to the city hall, the library, and the police station, and the courthouse. Like, I mean, it is literally like all the things you think of when someone said town square. Like, we've got those things right here. It is the view from that stage, as you may have seen in that video, that shot. If you're listening to this,
yes,
the view is from the north side, looking directly into the south side over the Lehigh River, and it is stunning.
It is stunning.
Green.
I think I have one other picture of Trouble City. This is Trouble City All-Stars. This is more close to the stage. I mean, look at that. That's just so awesome.
Also, you did a really great job with the Bob Ross clouds on that day.
Nice, right?
Thanks for calling those in.
Yep. And at nighttime, this is what it looked like. This is Cat Wright.
Oh, so that's a tighter shot, but that's Cat Wright.
Yeah,
on
that's
that stage.
Nighttime. So it was really such a picturesque option, but
yeah, we got they asked the community to name it, and Stadplatz is good. It rolls off the tongue actually pretty quickly.
Yep.
I was voting for a Platz with a view.
And I liked Bürgermeisterplatz.
Bürgermeisterplatz is good too.
Because that's the what you would call a mayor, if you will, in Germany, and since the mayor is there.
Mayor McCheese is what you're saying.
Correct, yeah,
so
Bürgermeisterplatz.
So that McDonald's was on top of this 20 years ago.
Yep. So I also reached out to friends of mine, people who I knew, who all go down quite a bit, and kind of for some their thoughts on what their favorite moments were. And my buddy Ryan, who is from Florida, flew up for the first weekend, and he actually talked about his favorite moments were Shamar Allen, and actually Ed Ross just wrote in on Twitter. That was one of his favorite moments as well. Ed was talking about Shamar Allen. He was the stage manager that time, and they had a song called "The Weekend Dance." Was calling out all the people in the crowd to have them do their dance. Called him out, and everyone was doing the Ed dance during the Shamar Allen show.
Well, congratulations to Ed.
How about Ed? He had his own dance?
He had his own dance.
And there was another cool moment of that Shamar Allen show, and this is a picture from it. So there's Shamar. That's his son, who's the drummer.
Oh, that's cool.
And he didn't talk about that until the very end. So they did the whole set.
Right.
And then he, how towards the end they'll do solos?
Yeah.
So the drummer does a solo, and all of a sudden he goes, by the way, that's my son. And it was just a very cool moment because he's like, I'm having a proud dad moment because my son can drum.
Yeah. I actually can 100% appreciate that.
Absolutely. So that was very, very cool.
That was in Plaza Tropical, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, it was.
Correct? Yeah,
yes, it was.
Again, I'm just trying to put a little placement for all those that can't see the photos.
Yeah. And then the other thing that Ryan talked about was the late night show. So there's an 11 o'clock performer.
On the weekend slots. They don't do that.
There's a few others during the week.
Do they do during the week?
Yeah. And because I learned this year, it's somewhat of a crowd thin out option for if everybody leaves the headliner, it's a jam-packed parking lot trying to get out of town.
Yeah, it is.
But for those people who maybe want to sit around for another hour, listen to some music, there's an 11 o'clock performer on that small stage.
While the parking is becoming dumb, you can enjoy this show for an hour.
Right. So the other thing that's fun is, obviously, it's 11 at night. It's the festival. It tends to be a fun time. So,
sure. Things are loose at that point.
Right. That first night, that Friday night, was Tioga. And they were performing. And this is a sense of not only what Tioga is all about, because I'm a big fan of theirs.
Sure.
But also, I panned back a little bit so you can see what the festing was like for a Friday night at 11 p.m. So here is Tioga, making people get up and dance. So you can get a cool sense for kind of how it goes there. And again, Tioga is such a great band, local Philly band. I mean, one guy's from Brooklyn, one from Philly.
I know we've talked about that stage specifically. I know there is in the middle of the day, that stage can get pretty intense because where it fits physically with the sun. But at night, that is a really neat space because it's a small stage, but the sound is remarkably good.
Sure, yeah.
And there's a nice dance space in front of it. And then on top of it, it is 11 p.m. There's also, towards the back, there's tables and chairs. So you can, just take it all in. And it's such a great combination when you're in the right space, right time kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's great to see that at the end of the night.
Oh, totally. Saturday for me was pretty jam-packed.
The first Saturday.
Yeah, this is the first Saturday.
Second Saturday as well.
Both Saturdays were jam-packed.
Well, second Saturday was, you previewed that, but it is it's a Phil, your next favorite band, Palooza.
Yes,
we'll get
absolutely.
To that. We're gonna.
So the first Saturday, though, this is another person that I checked in with. The Riddles, Mark Riddle. He's the executive director of our local. It's like transitional housing, kind of homeless shelter or that kind of thing.
Right.
So he's the executive director of that, and a neighbor and a fellow fester. We talked about Stodplots already. He said that the programming in particular at Plaza Tropical was part of his favorite. And then he also liked El Huri, who was on that Plaza Tropical stage that first Saturday. And here's a little bit from her music. It's called Espejo, and it's her recent single. This is the latest release that she has. So let's take a listen to that one. Big fan of El Huri.
So she's unbelievably talented.
Oh, yeah. Shreds the guitar, great songs.
But to tie back into the prior note was the fact that the Plaza Tropical programming. What is your favorite plots? Not Reese plots.
Yeah,
that has to go out because I know you're promoting it, but it's not possible.
My favorite plots, unfortunately, was Volk's plots.
Oh well, so
that gets replaced somewhat by Zinzenplots. So I think I lean Zinzenplots.
Sort of Zinzenplots and sort of Stodplots, depending on where the programming ends up. Yeah. So Volksplots used to be a venue for those that might be wondering that used to be also where there was flooding issues, and it was basically discontinued because of the fact that they had to cancel nights, if not multiple nights, for many reasons. So what this year you would say Zinzenplots is the one that is.
Yeah, I mean,
I like Zinzenplots a lot too.
I think I ended up.
I think it's mine is a tie between Zinzenplots and Plaza Tropical.
Yeah, I think I ended up at those two the most, and I was running between them often, which is nice because they're so close.
Well, that's what I was just going to say. There is.
I'm also feeding the meter, so I just ran out.
Phil doesn't want to get a car towed. What a wuss. But yeah, the Plaza Tropical and Zinzenplots. Zinzenplots is the second newest plots, which, again, for a little context, the plots is what, because of the German heritage of the area, is used to describe a place, a space, a stage that is used like a lot of other places use for the names of their venues. So this is these two stages, the Plaza Tropical and Zinzenplots, are probably, I think, the two closest stages of any of the two stages.
Right.
In all of Musikfest, maybe with the exception of the indoor spaces at Arts Quest, because they're all in the same building.
Yes.
That's a sort of different arrangement.
Yep.
No, it's a good rundown, and I think again, if for people tuning in who maybe haven't been down or
or thinking about it,
whatever.
Yeah. I mean, it gives you an idea of how to navigate the space.
Absolutely. Yeah, and there's 15 free stages while we're here. So
right, it's across an entire city.
Yep.
Not a big city. We're
no, I got you.
We're not Jacksonville, Florida, largest city by geographical boundaries.
Wow.
Yeah.
How about that? Tidbits for y'all.
Wikipedia, that one.
Yep.
I may be wrong, by the way. So, but I think I'm right.
Yeah, I don't doubt it. So the other two bands, so there was a next favorite band moment, and then there was a magical Musikfest moment on that Saturday. So a next favorite band moment was I walked into the Martin Guitar Lyric Plots, I believe it is, or Lager Plots.
I think it's Lager Plots.
Probably Lager Plots. And so this is called a band out of Chicago called the Darling Sons. And I thought they were incredible, and I wish I had seen them on a more full stage for a full show, because the other thing about that stage is it's a 30-minute quick hit kind of thing.
It not only did a quick hit kind of thing, but a lot of times, not every band, it depends on the band, but they do play often in a more stripped down setup.
So that's what's interesting.
Right,
they did not. They threw everybody up there, and God bless them, because it was 30 minutes, and this is how hard they bring it. So here's the Darling Sons. So the other thing that's nice is this is a preview. I did talk to them after their set. They are going to come on the show, so we're currently scheduling that.
How we doing, Musikfest? It's good to see you.
Always love when I capture the "How you doing, Musikfest" moment.
It's right. That's the make the crowd cheer for you moment.
Yep.
Because you can mention where you are.
Correct.
I mean, every band does it. There's nothing, no harm, no foul. But I always find it's always fun.
Yep. But their sound was amazing. Again, it's one of those ones where I love when it's genre defiant. You can't put it in a category.
Right. So this is you would play the basics. You'd be like, I guess it's a rock band. Oh, also she's playing violin.
Yep.
You know, like those moments. You know.
Totally. But I definitely bring it from a live standpoint, which is always huge for me.
For both of us.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, that's how both of us usually dive into a lot of these things, though there's other ways we travel in the rivers of.
Yep. So that was the Darling Sons, and then my Musikfest moment, the first one of the season, was They're There. Who they're actually they tuned in. They said a couple of comments, so I really appreciate you guys tuning in tonight. It's one of those ones where like you moved up to the tent and you were like, I'm going to check this out, and then you immediately were just sucked in, and then each song and each moment that kept happening, you get a little bit closer, and the next thing you know, you spent 90 minutes completely bathing in sound, two bodies from the stage, and my goodness, are they incredible. We talked about this before, not a tribute band guy.
Right.
But Radiohead, different ball game, and holy cow, are they good at generating the Radiohead sound. So you were not there this evening, right?
No, I was not.
Yeah.
This was the gotta go home and rest the ankle kind of moments.
Right.
Unfortunately, I wish I could put a little emoji up for why I wasn't there. Well, let's talk about the seating.
Yeah. The other thing that's fun, so when you go to a tribute band, you do want to be part of the audience. Like, you go to it because you want to recognize the songs, sing along with 200 to 2,000 other people.
It's experiencing a stadium show at a festival scale.
And so it was so cool to listen to this many dozens, if not hundreds of other people know Radiohead to such a level that they sang along. And so I recorded a couple of different parts because I was enjoying it so much. But this is their song, Weird Fishies. So let's take a listen to They're There.
mean, just incredible that everyone's doing all the cool background stuff.
I'm disappointed, Phil, you're not singing right. They sound great.
Don't they?
Yeah, they sound great. And Radiohead is
not easy.
No. We've had a discussion about tribute bands, and that's a discussion for another time. But I do think the whole tribute band gig is a tough gig to play. I actually don't disagree with the comment that just came up from Carver Commodore. So I'll be in the corner over here with them hanging out.
Hang on, this is the part where the...
Oh, sorry.
That was just that cool part where I love when the lighting guy gets into it too.
Yeah, so again, for anyone listening, Phil paused that so that we can show a video where the lights flashed on and off.
No, and the audience is singing along.
Yeah, I'm not oversimplifying things, but I'm just trying to give a little context. Tribute band is an interesting gig because you have to play and mimic someone else's material in a way that is genuine, and it is a hard thing to do because not all musicians can do that.
Yeah.
I was terrible playing cover songs.
Yep. No. Yeah. And
because I was too busy trying to. I was still not playing someone else's chops, and that's hard to do, and that takes a lot of musicality to do that correctly.
Absolutely. Yeah, because you're playing in someone else's style.
Correct.
It may not feel like the right, skin or whatever. But yeah, no, kudos to there. Listen, if you like Radiohead, and even if you don't, to be honest, but if you definitely like Radiohead, you should absolutely check them out. They're based in New York, so they play New York a good bit. They play Philly. They play the whole Northeast. So it's definitely something you guys, oh, look, they're even giving us comments. Yep. They try their hardest to have an organic experience. It's fun as heck. Thanks, guys. No, thank you all. I mean, holy cow, was that an incredible experience. And it was, I don't want to say you almost forget how many, hit after hit, anthem after anthem, not even hit. I don't mean Radiohead.
I would say, I think anthem is a better word for Radiohead because they're less of a, using the example of something. Think of a band with more hits that does a lot. There's a lot of tribute bands out for, like a Journey example.
Sure.
Also a different level of chops. Anybody that can mimic Steve Perry, good for you.
Oh,
but
yeah.
My point being in that is you're talking about hits.
Yes.
There's a pile of them. Radiohead is got a more of a. The anthem is a good example.
Sure.
They're the dedicated fan base.
Because my favorite song by them ever is Exit Music for a Film. That's not a hit.
No.
But it is an absolutely stunningly, amazingly written song. It has this build, and the whole crowd was in. Again, it's not just their talent.
There's a cinematic scope.
But yeah, and the crowd was so into it. I mean, that's the stuff that, again, Musikfest taps into that you can't script. It's just part of what happens there. And again, thank you to there for their amazing performance, and hopefully get to see you again real soon, because that was quite a treat. And like you said, so Carver commented in Rainbows is their best record. Fight me on it. And I'm not going to. I think that's quite my personal favorite is OK Computer, but I can totally have respect for somebody saying In Rainbows.
Yeah, I actually don't have enough skin in the game. Enough skin in the game on the favorite Radiohead album to come in here swinging.
Yep.
So we're just gonna I think our best bet is to jump ahead to the next part, because unfortunately it'll go down a rabbit hole of you trying to defend OK Computer to me, and I'll disagree with you.
No, I wouldn't defend it.
I honestly don't have enough skin in the game on that one.
Totally get it. So actually, I'm pulling up my phone because the transition here is someone wrote to me again. Another one of my friends who I wrote to say what were your favorite moments. Sarah Riddle had this to say. Screaming females.
Right. So
she called they were a transformative experience. That's why I wanted to pull this up. I haven't been moved by a new band like that in years. I could not believe what is happening in front of me. And I completely concur with this. They were my number one next favorite band of the entire festival. This band is so
again, like you can't put them in a box. You can't really do anything except experience them. Hopefully this will do it justice. I'm going to let this entire, I think it's 2 minutes and 30 seconds play. I believe her name is Marissa. I can't wait. I hope we get the chance to interview them. I would now, based on what I saw for that 60 to 90 minutes, I would put her guitar chops up against any other guitar player I've ever seen.
That's brave. That's a brave statement.
And so we'll watch this and you can tell me if you agree. But I was like, just to the same way that Sarah was kind of commenting on it, I was like, I was giggling because I was like so amazed with, again, what was happening in front of me. Like it was incredible music, guitar playing, the combination of the three of them, and it's a style of music that's a little bit more raw, like it's a little bit more hard.
Yeah, there's a heavier punk to them that and they bring so you saw I think almost the whole set.
Almost the whole thing.
I saw the very tail end. I think I saw the last 3 songs.
Yep.
Because I sent you, I think, a picture of me shooting a picture of the back of your head from the back of the crowd.
That's right.
But my point being is that there's an energy that like the punk, that harder edge stuff that brings, and I think they brought that.
Yes.
I do not. So let's, as I'm talking about it, let's
bring in Screaming Females. Enjoy. About to go off. Are you not entertained? Holy cow. Screaming Females. New Brunswick, New Jersey, like you just heard her. And just a stunning whole set. Like that was just one tiny little sliver. And thank you, Colleen, for commenting in. Hopefully we found you another next favorite band. Just a really, really enjoyable set. They are performing. Actually, they just did Chicago. Like they're out there, even though they're a local band as far as where they're based, but they do tour all over the United States, even internationally. So if you get a chance to see Screaming Females, highly, highly recommend it. Another local band that performed that day was Trouble City All Stars, and they have a song that I always say to them is just an absolute favorite of mine. If this song went 40 to 45 minutes, I would not argue. We're about to bring on Trouble City, and their
Did
song.
you just say a 45-minute jam?
They don't play it that long. I'm saying
Right,
if it did go that
Phil
long.
is a secret fish head, everybody.
Yeah. If this song, I just could listen to the song nonstop. They could do a whole set of just this song, and I would take it.
All right. I mean,
So here is Jumbo Shrimp, and it's also shot on that Stodplot stage, so you get a really good sense for the beauty of what that stage looked like.
Untitled water from my dog, with no warning. Since I'm headed out to sea, I never really know what's ahead of me. Until what do I see? Jumbo shrimp, see them all around. Jumbo shrimp into the Puget Sound. A jumbo shrimp, see them chocolate. Jumbo shrimp through the Bering Strait. Jumbo shrimp, see them all around. I'm jumbo shrimp into the Puget Sound. A jumbo shrimp, see them chocolate. Jumbo shrimp through the Bering Strait.
I kind of enjoy the microphone on these phones. It picks up as you zoom in or zoom out. It becomes like a directional.
Well, as I said to some people, like the lenses on these are really sophisticated as a camera. The reason they end up taking such glorious pictures is it's attached to a computer.
Sure.
And that's one of the reasons the same thing that's happening right now that you just referred to as it realizes as you're doing zooming, panning,
right,
that the microphone also should respond to directional information.
Yeah.
And,
so it will zoom. Like if you're zoomed in, it's going to try and take in the audio that's in front. If you zoom back, it's going to try and take in more of the surround.
This does depend on the model iPhone you have.
Probably.
The most sophisticated ones will do more sophisticated things.
Yes.
I just made a bold text statement there.
You did. That was it was a rough ground that you just stood on.
Ooh, I'm willing to fight people on that one.
But yeah, if you're listening in headphones, you would
it does. You can really get the response.
The change is palpable. So anyway, there's Trouble City, Three Brothers.
It is Three
Todd,
Brothers, and then
Seth, Maddie,
bonus guy,
and he's been there the whole time too.
I don't unfortunately know his name.
Yeah, it's slipping my mind. I do know it, but I apologize.
And
but
he doubles on
keyboards, horns, that brings a lot of that flavor to things.
That makes me feel bad. But anyway,
but Trouble City, and also Todd, the drummer, lead singer, does a lot of art for Bond. Like that's his piece right there. That if I could turn that camera, I could show you. Some of their can labels he's done. He's Renaissance guy.
Yeah, he does a lot. He's definitely a man of many talents.
And I thought I'd take a moment here before we move into like the real hyperdrive of the week. Back to Darling Sons, that was a band that was booked by the Bethlehem Area School District kids who are part of that elective class.
The thing is, we mentioned this in our preview with Patrick Brogan about this program. So this is good. That's a nice tie-in.
You like how I did that, right?
Oh my God, so much planning.
I haven't even had any journalistic training, and yet here I am dropping breadcrumbs.
Now you just revealed it. It was so obvious before that you were just like, I believe he was a candidate for a Peabody. And
Ruined everything. But yeah, so they have this elective class where both Freedom and Liberty high schools,
2 high schools in Bethlehem,
School District, they get training from Arts Quest. They get a fund to book bands,
correct?
And they just get taught how to do that whole process.
They get a budget. They even know what schedule they're working with for the most part.
Right.
I mean, unless they manage the land, I don't know.
Right.
Pick somebody insane that they somehow managed to get. They might move the schedule around a little bit. It's like
but I think the point
is now available on Saturday.
No, I think the point is that it's the search, the listening, who to pick, how to do it, and then
they've done a great job.
Well, so this year, Darling Sons was one of the ones they found. And prior year, Carver Commodore was one of the ones they found.
I'm trying to remember. They also did, years ago, Roy and the Secret People, who also played this year.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Yeah.
So
all great stuff. And then a separate plug before we head back into the music stuff is I did, we'll call it a daily live stream. That's what I was calling it. It was 7 of the 10 days out of Godfrey Daniels, which I repped them today by my T-shirt. I was live from Godfrey Daniels 7 of the 10 days and had on guests that were either musicians or kind of like music adjacent either people or organizations. And one of the people was Jack Silva, he's the assistant superintendent of the Bethlehem Area School District, but he also oversees that program. So he talked about it a good bit. So this is my plug to kind of either go check out those live streams, or I'm going to put out this week like a best of kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, it was, I think, put it all together, it's a little over 8 hours of all the material.
Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean.
So here's some of the other people who were on. Ramona Labar, who is the managing director of Godfrey Daniels. Taylor Van Kooten from Lehigh Valley Style. El Huri. Greg Adams from Tioga. Craig Larimer from The Morning Call. Tiffany Sondergaard, who is TSPR and event planning. Blair Crimmins, and all of the hookers. It was an entire day of 6 hookers that I talked to.
I don't even know what that cost you.
Correct. Like I said, Jack Silva, Cassie Hilgert, the CEO of ArtsQuest, Billy Bauer, Seth Witcher, Bart Cooper, who was the designer of the mug this year. The
stunning mug.
Yeah, very, very cool mug and poster.
Yeah.
John Worthy, Mike Lorenz, who is listening, and Ty Valone from the Groove Merchants. And also 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 songs played live. Some of them first time ever acoustic or first time ever played. So we're going to put those out as well on either on YouTube and as a podcast episode. So subscribe, smash that like button.
Oh man,
I had to go there.
We're not ready for that part yet. We'll get there.
Yeah.
So just for a little context, while Phil pulls something up here.
No, I got it.
Oh, never mind. Then I don't have to give context. I was just going to say what Godfrey Daniels is for anybody that doesn't understand.
Please, do that.
It sounded like you were broadcasting live from a person.
True.
It is a small
listening room.
It's a listening room. Yep. 1 block from where we are right now.
Yep.
We are between 3rd and 4th Avenue. I'm sorry, Street. Street. Sorry, I'm trying to figure what side of the Bethlehem I'm on.
Right.
That is one of the oldest listening rooms in the United States, if I've got my history correct.
Yeah, it's up there with Cafe Lena in Saratoga and the Bluebird Cafe in Nashville. That's in that same category. It's been around since like 1976 or something like that. It predates the Musikfest festival.
It's a really neat place to see a show if you can see something there, because you are literally hanging out with the artists while they perform.
It's like seeing something in a living room in the best way possible.
Right, it's in a living room, but with a full professional sound environment that is set up for that space.
Yes, exactly right. Definitely check out Godfrey Daniels, check out the live streams, and like I said, I'll put out some best of moments. That might be an easier way to kind of check that stuff out. But moving back into the festival, Tuesday is where things really kind of started to take off like a rocket ship.
The weather was still pretty brutal at that point in time, as mentioned earlier.
It was still a little hot. There was still a risk of some showers, but it was heading in the right direction.
Yes, it was early August.
And so Tuesday night was JJ Gray. You talked about it was your favorite moment. So this is your favorite festival moment.
This is the stand-up moment for me. So
sure.
I had to pace myself. And this is the one that I was building up to. The training had paid off. The Rocky theme was playing as I went down.
I heard it.
Sure.
Yep.
We got to fly now, or whatever the actual time is.
Yes.
Close. I'm
gonna fly now.
Gonna fly now.
There is a fly flying around right now.
We're gonna ignore it though.
Correct. As long as it doesn't go in my beer.
And then JJ Gray, as discussed during the preview as well, is the one thing that ended up on you and mine.
Yep,
and,
I have that still here.
Another person's list.
Yeah, we had our top lists. JJ Gray was at the top of all 3 of our lists.
Think Southern Soul for the easiest way. Think like Muscle Shoals.
Yeah, I actually introduced him. So this is me.
Right. So
that's the next day. This is me
hanging out.
That's me backstage, ready to introduce JJ Gray and Mofro. I got such an honor that I got the chance to do that.
Right. So that was a pretty cool event for Phil. For me, I got to stand and watch, which was fine.
He got to record it.
I did record it.
But the thing was, I introduced him as Southern rock, blues, soul, gospel, funk, folk.
I mean, I think all of that is accurate.
It is. It totally is.
He is. It is hard. I have heard great singers.
Yes.
That's not surprising. But to see somebody who produces that live,
yes,
I would never want to be his sound man.
No.
Because you have to deal with the fact that he has such a elegant and rich range and tone in his voice.
Yep. And so the part that I'm about to play is more, it was only a handful of times, but there was a few times he grabbed a guitar.
And those were my favorite moments. So
the guitar is called Red Rooster. For anybody asking?
Wow, what is it called?
Red Rooster.
Red Rooster.
Yep.
So it was maybe 4 songs of the whole night.
4 or 5.
Yeah.
Somewhere in there. He also played it on parts of songs and did sort of the like James Brown-esque thing where it was just sort of like
it was there.
handed off.
Yeah. But he not only is an amazing singer like you're talking about, which was definitely the highlight of the night, but he was an amazing blues guitarist. And those were I just loved it because it gets filthy and it gets bassman-y, and that's my favorite stuff.
Let's put on some of the nasal
Let's
funk
put it on
his guitar.
So the only thing I wanted to add was he also would tell stories, like back to almost like the gospel thing. Like he's going to preach. And this particular one, unfortunately, I started it a little late, but he was telling a story about how his grandfather was like his grandpappy was the the alpha of the house, but his grandmother would at moments put him in his place.
Yes.
And this was one of those moments. And so let's check out JJ Grey and Mofro.
Mama, don't leave for another man. 'Cause if you do, that's what my grandmother looked at him like, yeah, what are you gonna do, fool? You ain't gonna do nothing.
Turns into a solo, but so talented,
and he's amazing. But it's not. I don't want to diminish the power of all of those other musicians on stage because his band is also hot,
super tight. And we also pointed out it's actually 2 trumpets behind.
Yeah,
him.
which is a really kind of. I don't know of any brass arrangement off the top of my head that is 2 trumpets. Though the keyboard player did play trombone on occasion.
Oh, that was cool. Yeah. When we saw Lowdown Brass Band, they had 2 trumpets, but they still also had tuba, sax.
Right, it was, that was, I think, probably for a volume.
Correct.
Versus this.
But this was only 2 trumpets.
Only 2 trumpets, and the 2 guys were both. I mean, they had a moment where they sort of stepped to the front of the stage, and we let them have their playoff, if you will. And it was fun, and then they threw solos back and forth, very jammy or almost jazz. Like, I mean, it wasn't that freeform, but in the sense of how the fact that they each took their bars, if you will.
Yeah. But it was a true, just absolute treat to enjoy this band.
But they also they brought all their production too, which was a nice. It's nice when a festival doesn't always get that.
Yep. And
so
also
that was nice.
For a free show, like Cassie commented that the volume of people who gathered at the end of the show was bigger for JJ Grey than for Ziggy Marley, who was one of their biggest sellers of the week and was the headliner that night.
Well, right. I think that ties sort of into your other than the excellent music, because you walk by and you hear that and you're like this, what the, and you have that moment.
Yep.
But in addition, there's all those leaving the Ziggy Marley to do this. Hey.
Yes, yeah. It doesn't hurt that they were performing very near each other, and Ziggy ended before him. So, I'm sure it fed off of each other, but still, that was one of the most well-attended.
That's good festival logistics at the same time, too.
Correct.
I mean,
yeah, that was just.
Let's not knock the sometimes complexity that goes into that stuff.
Absolutely. So
that's Tuesday.
That was Tuesday, right? So we're about at a halfway point,
which is, and we're an hour into this conversation.
Yeah, well, listen.
So that is Tuesday.
Your favorite day,
which was
your pick.
My pick, because we also had Argonaut and Wasp that night.
No, Tedious and Brief.
Tedious and Brief. Sorry, Argonaut and Wasp were later in the week.
Yes.
I unfortunately am uploading my changing my order of things. We had Wee Banjo 3 on the north side, which I did not see because of the on the beautiful stock spots. I bet that's where they were amazing.
Yes.
Fun fact, they played the following night. I saw them on Wednesday.
Yep. I have a great picture of them. Actually, I'll bring it up now.
Okay.
So this was a Wee Banjo 3 picture from the next night, again on the Levitt stage.
Actually, that's a really good shot.
And the sun was setting, and it was just this stunning stunning moment of them towards the close of their show. It was really, really cool.
Yeah, Tuesday was my night. Like, if you can go one night, and I think ultimately you had a lot of your pals that went to Ziggy that night, so I think they all agreed with me. So I was right.
No, you.
So we can end it. Thanks, everybody.
Here's what I love about it is I wouldn't mind being wrong.
No, I know it's.
So another performer from Tuesday who also played Wednesday is Blair Crimmins.
Correct. That was who I was.
You were leading up to that.
Correct.
I could sense.
I didn't have the T-shirt on because I do have the T-shirt.
Yes, I almost wore it tonight, but I was worried you were going to also. So I also wanted to rep Godfrey's since they were so nice.
To be in the laundry. Is that an actual real world excuse?
So the nice part about when I interviewed Blair and the Hookers, this is the 6 of them and me. After the interview, over at what's called Fun Plots during that week, it's the Fun House. We decided to go grab a drink after the interview, and what a great. Just experience for me. I mean, it was so neat because we brought up 2 people at a time from the band,
right?
Of people who don't normally get interviewed. Everyone wants to talk to Blair. Everyone wants to talk to the lead singer. Everyone wants to talk to whatever. And so these were 5 other people who don't normally get to have a moment, and they all had a moment, and they were great. Like, it was so cool to hear their backstories.
I will tell you, as somebody who is frequently the bass player in bands,
sure,
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Because I have something to say too. I'm a musician, those kind of things. And Blair, on the other hand, yes, he is more gregarious because that's sort of who you have to be at the front of the stage.
Absolutely.
But good for him and good for you because that sounded like that was one of my favorite conversations you had.
Yeah.
All of them were good, but I think that one because you had the whole band.
It was a beginning, middle, and end.
Yeah,
it was really, really cool.
There was a difference as a result of that.
I completely agree. And so I may put that one out as its own podcast because it would be about 40 minutes, and I don't have to edit anything. And the hookers. Right. And it's a very, very cool.
Pay for that podcast.
Yeah. So so if you don't know who Blair Crimmins and the Hookers is, it's Dixieland jazz, which is roughly 1920s. It's a little bit of New Orleans. It's a little bit more of that ragtime kind of feel.
With vocals. I think that's the part that is important to think.
And he writes his own current songs in that style. And he also does a lot of covers from that style. And he will cover current music in that style. So he
picks songs that he likes that are sort of rock pop-esque
right.
songs.
He does Let's Dance by David Bowie. He does Psycho Killer by the Talking Heads. So
correct.
These are songs that then he'll make it sound like it's from 1920s Dixieland jazz. Now, if you want to know what Dixieland jazz sounds like, that's what this is. This happens to be an instrumental called Hot Damn. But here, enjoy some Blair Crimmins and the Hookers.
1, 2, 3, Hot Damn!
I could listen to this stuff all day.
Yeah, so there is a thing about this. It's fun. Like there's a fun factor.
Yep.
But for me, there's also that added layer of there's a musicality to it.
Yep.
Like it's not just like, oh, this is just fun music. Like you put up, but there's actually like one of those musical things that are actually happening to this, which make it really, really like more engaging as a result of that.
Completely agree. And the other thing was, and again, this is in the interview, the drummer here was only with them for a couple months. So the other guys have been with him for a while. Horns more than the bassist. But that guy's got to keep up with these guys.
Yeah, I mean, maybe he's for Dixieland savant for all we know. Like,
sure.
I mean, honestly, I just find his music entertaining, which is, I think, one of the best things to do. And they're all amazing musicians on top of it. That great combination of great musicians playing music that is especially entertaining.
Yeah. So there's Blair Crimmins and the Hookers. Again, another one to absolutely check out anytime you possibly can. Based out of Atlanta. They don't come up here I asked him. I was hoping they would come up here like twice a year, once for Musikfest and once another swing. He said it's not always the thing, and obviously 2.5 years of COVID have impacted that stuff.
Yeah.
So he's much more prevalent in the Southeast. But my goodness,
if you do get a chance to see them,
you do it
or stream them, because the recordings they have are also that same sort of music excellence with lots of fun kind of thing put together.
Yeah, and if you want to have a great time, like there's a song called "It's All Over Now" that also has an amazing video. So like the days of the music video are kind of over, but do yourself a favor, go check that on YouTube, and it's so funny, and it's such a great song.
I agree with all of those points.
I agree with everything you just said, and then some. Okay, so moving on now into Thursday, right? Yeah.
Wednesday.
No, Wednesday was what we just did.
Well, they also played Tuesday, so I thought we were still on Tuesday.
So Thursday now is where we're going to feature Slingshot Dakota.
Oh, this is when you saw them? Because I saw them on. Maybe it was Thursday.
It had to be Thursday. It was the only day they played.
Oh, was it Thursday? Look, there's 10 days, and there is also beer. And I'm like, it comes in a big mug, so I may confuse what day that was.
Then the only reason why I know what day it is because I have a spreadsheet.
Yeah.
I'm big on spreadsheets.
Phil works with spreadsheets all day long.
Yeah, and then
I just write notes.
Yeah. So, Thursday, Slingshot Dakota. And I guess before we play that, they're playing. So if you happen to not see them, or you definitely want to see them whenever they play, they're playing again on the Levitt stage, free show
in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. Sunday the 11th. Yeah, it's a combo show with Catbite, who were another band that I picked in our previews, and they were tons of fun.
Huge Philly ska band.
Yeah, they're Philly ska band, and they were also the two of them as a combo is a great show. It's a great
back-to-back. So definitely go see Catbite and Slingshot Dakota on the Levitt stage on Sunday, September 11th.
Yep.
But if you have never seen Slingshot Dakota, let's take a listen to some of what they're all about. It's two guys, and here's the one thing, little tip here: definitely watch Tom, the drummer's face. He's one of the coolest drummers you'll ever see.
Tom's hair for a second, because I believe it has its own presence on stage. Look at that thing. I mean, that's amazing.
I mean, the hair is amazing. The way he stares down the drum kit is amazing.
Well, I also think Carly is kind of busy. She looks like she's having a good time too, but Carly is playing. She's covering a lot of space with her keyboard setup along with singing.
And she gets such noise out of that thing. There's certain moments where you're not sure how that much noise is coming out of two human beings. One keyboard, one drummer, and they create a, dare I say, cacophony.
Oh, I don't think that's the wrong noise, because it is depending on the venue, an earplug style show.
Absolutely, it should be.
Yeah. They're fantastic.
Yes.
I mean, I like I said, I think I mentioned this during the preview. They are, it sounds like a cliche, but they are a local band done good.
Absolutely.
I mean, they are literally from Bethlehem. They have done national tours. They have opened for and toured with significant bands.
And they should. One other quick. So that weekend that they're playing on that stage, there's that whole Thursday, Friday also has great shows. El Huri, who we talked about earlier, is on Thursday, September 8th. Free show, Bethlehem, Levitt stage. Friday, Dirty Dollhouse.
Oh,
so they didn't play Musikfest this year?
But you have interviewed them in the first season.
Correct.
You've interviewed
Chelsea,
thank you. I was going to get her name wrong. Thank you for reading my mind. That the look on my face said, I don't want to make this sound as terrible as I think it will.
Yeah, so they are incredible. Again, don't want to call them country, but
no,
I
actually would use even more the folk sounds like it's boring. It's not that either. Like
Again,
that's
just if we do anything on this show, we hope that you trust us. Like, come no matter what you think of country, folk, Nashville sound. This is going to be blowing you out of the water of all of that. I would put, again, back to earlier bold statement, I think she has the best voice I've ever heard. Like,
she's a good singer.
It's an amazing voice. So
no discounting that.
Right.
At all.
So again, Thursday, El Hiri, 9/8.
I mean,
Friday, 9/9, Dirty Dollhouse. Sunday, 9/11, Catbite, Slingshot Dakota.
The 10th.
Right. Well, I don't remember, but the only reason why I don't know is that night is also the Doylestown art festival.
Well,
so I'll be down in Doylestown.
Fair enough. My brain was just like, what is wedged in there?
Right.
Like at that point
it's almost like its own little mini music fest, but only one stage music fest. But anyway, highly recommend that. So here comes Argonaut and Wasp. We're now at Friday of the closing weekend. Another stunning picture that I happened to grab. This was while they were on the stage, the Steel Stacks in full glory with the sunset there. And they in particular are someone who always gush over the beauty of the Stacks. Last year was their first time at Musikfest, and this year,
this is the first time they've been on
the bigger stage.
And so they were right directly in front of the Steel Stacks.
And so for them, I actually ran back and took pictures so that they could see what they would look like on that stage. And so anyway, they were very appreciative of that. So I wanted to kind of just share that here because it came out so amazing. But here's their song. I always said Monticello. They pronounced it on stage that night Monticello.
Well, then I give them correct pronunciation because it's their song.
I'm going to think they're right. And I got a little bit artsy with this. I started with the ground and panned up. But check this out.
Cinematography.
Yep,
by
Argonaut
Race.
Wasp, Monticello. I really, really enjoy these guys.
Yeah, they have it's a very modern sound the way that they do it, the high harmonies that they do. But I think they write actually pretty good songs. That was actually one of the interesting things they did in the middle of this set. It was before this song.
Yep.
Because they were talking about the bigger song we sort of wrote during COVID, and the singer played a couple of them on guitar by itself because he was like, we haven't figured out the Argonaut and Wasp sort of how this becomes an Argonaut and Wasp song. And I love those moments where a band is like, this is a song and we're in it. Like this is the whole band.
Right.
Like it's all the parts in it, you know. And they get revealed as a band works.
Yeah. And to that end, so the guy on the left there, Theo, who's on the keyboards and sampling things, he's kind of like a genius when it comes to some of those sounds and samples and how to get some of those backing tracks to really work in their favor. And then Trey, the lead singer, Alec on bass. I just think they're a really, really cool sound, great band. Hope for the best for them. They're out of Brooklyn. I've seen them a couple times, and
they were also on. If you want to catch up on the conversation with them, they were on the first season.
Yes, they were. We interviewed them back in November, I believe.
Right. So if you want to go catch up on some of that, there may be hints of what they were saying at that point in time.
Correct.
That we're saying right now. They have been in that same sort of thing.
And one thing I realized was when I pull in a video off the desktop, it starts in the small window, so you didn't get to witness my artsy photography.
Well, then we'll worry about the Oscar at another point in time.
Correct. Yeah, I'm not winning anything off of this.
While we're talking about where that was located, at the same time, one of the things that was a highlight for me for Musikfest, because of the reduction in COVID restrictions, was the return of the indoor stages.
Yeah.
So historically, there have been indoor stages that have been used, and the last 2021 it was only outdoor stages.
Right.
2020 that was
canceled
minus a couple sort of virtual things and some outdoor stuff. But 2019 there were indoor stages, and this year was the return of those, and some of the spaces they use is for music that benefits from a space that is acoustically more treated like that.
Often jazz.
It is often jazz,
but other things too.
Right. And so
here comes Mike Lorenz.
Well, speaking of Mike Lorenz, right, his group, the Witherbees.
Mike, if you're still out there, let us know.
He performed in one of the cinemas.
Correct.
With his group, the Witherbees, they use a very long description, but I sort of like to hear like folk jazz destruction is sort of what happens.
Yep.
Because it's super melodic, and then at times they use all of that at the same time. Regardless, that was one of my highlights, was the return of the indoor stages, because I do like the fact that you can have a more intimate thing.
Yes.
In a giant music festival.
Yeah, and this was so my buddy Eric, who I went to college with, he came and visited on the second weekend, and what I always like to point out with him was his commentary for this was his only, I shouldn't say only, the one wow moment he had was the Witherbees. And this is a guy...
Because Eric has great taste.
Well, that's the thing, is like...
If he's listening right now, you're welcome.
Well, he's somebody who like when we were in college, this is somebody who loved Faith No More and whatnot, which is still great music, but you wouldn't expect someone who's a big fan of that to go down and say, my one wow moment was the Witherbees. But it has to do with just how stunningly amazing they are. Like,
I think
again, you might hear the word jazz and think, oh, that's not for me. You should not let that prevent you from going to check them out, because they aren't jazz. Like, they're not jazz, they're not folk, but they are all those things and none of them at the same time.
Right. So
let's play
give a little appetizer of that.
Hopefully you can get a sense there for the jazz not jazz, folk not folk.
But that's also that's one side of their
yes,
sound.
exactly.
Because, their arrangement is so guitar, bass, drums, that's very jazz, like it's a trio. But then you add in a viola, and Jackie, who is playing viola, is also the vocalist.
Yes.
And they do everything like jazz, but they cover standards or songs that they sort of treat like standards, along with original pieces that they do side by side with all of that stuff. Yep. And it is, they're delightful.
Oh my God! Like, that only begins to kind of explain it. But the other, I missed this a little bit earlier, but Billy Bauer played the same night as Slingshot, so I kind of skipped past that, and that was John Getty's favorite moment. So John Getty,
and
one of our,
had Billy on your live stream.
and right. So Witherbees were on.
Yeah.
We talked about that. So Mike Lorenz was on the live stream. Billy Bauer was on the live stream. His night that he played, so he played Stodplots, and he played a Dave Matthews tribute. So again, back to don't really love tributes. I don't have video from Billy Bauer's Dave Matthews tribute, only because I was completely and utterly absorbed into watching the show.
Oh, well, I mean, that's a good thing, right?
Right, exactly. So, but sadly, I don't have anything to show for it other than this kind of cool picture. I mean...
Well, yeah, you got a very cinematic photo there.
Yeah.
I appreciate the photoshopping of the purple background.
I didn't do that. That's literally just... Okay.
I'm just having fun.
But Billy, so the other reason why I wanted to bring that up, not only to give John Getty kudos, who is a big-time fester that joins us a lot. Yeah. He's one of the people who definitely goes up front with me.
John was there. I saw him, I can think of 3 days that I ran into John, but
yeah.
Maybe even more than that.
And he picked Billy Bauer as his favorite night, and I concur. That was such a stunning thing. And they're playing tomorrow night, Thursday night, on that free Levitt stage, again, here in Bethlehem. the Dave Matthews tribute show. So it is, again, if you like Dave Matthews, you should check it out because they do a wonderful job. They they crush it. They really do. He sounds amazing. They have the violinist is spot on. They bring on keyboard, they bring on sax, they bring on bass drums, all that stuff. So
Billy, not during that show because the nature of that show is specific, but Billy also has his own thing that he does outside of that as well. So that's worth checking out as well.
Yeah. He plays his own music, which is like Dave Matthews influenced, only because that's what he kind of grew up listening to.
Sure.
But it's his own sound. But those nights that he does a Dave Matthews tribute, it's almost exclusively that music.
It is a Dave Matthews show.
But they'll do something like almost like a Dave show. They'll play Dancing Nancy's for 19 minutes.
That sounds like a short song to me. You asked for 45 earlier. Come on.
Right. Well, that's jumbo shrimp. That's a special case.
What's a jumbo?
That's exactly it. It's extra jumbo shrimp.
It's an oxymoron, right?
Correct. Exactly.
Short pants.
So
Military intelligence.
So good news. We are up to Saturday. Your next favorite band of Palooza.
We'll be here for the next 22 hours while Phil recounts it in real time.
Actually, no. I'm going to let the music stand for itself.
I'm just having a little fun.
You're having lots of fun. Me too. So unfortunately, Pepperwine signed off, and this is our time to let them shine.
It's their fault.
It's their right. Yeah. You know what? They went and rehearsed. They're actually having band practice tonight.
Well,
shame on them.
Does it sound weird to say that it shows? I'm not trying to. That sounds like they were not rehearsed before.
No. I think it's the exact opposite because
they're a professional band.
And this, I think we talk about them with Patrick Brogan.
We do.
By saying they get better every year.
Yeah,
and they were again better this year than.
Specifically, the comment I use is they get groovier, which I know sounds like a sort of throwaway term, but I literally mean that from a pocket perspective.
Yeah,
I think their rhythm section has found a way to enhance the songs that are sort of the top end of how all that comes together.
Yep.
And as a result, it makes everything better.
Yeah, and here is their song "Running in the Rain," which. It's one of those ones that gives me chills. So when Kelly hits those notes, where it really kind of rises in the kind of the resolution of the song. Enjoy "Running in the Rain" by Pepperwine. So there's a few things.
It's people noting that there's 10,000 people.
Right. Yeah, there's a couple hundred people there. I love Breeze's guitar playing, and then when Kelly sings that way, I get into it. And then I do love when she does that little finger gun moment. She's like, boom.
Right.
That shows up maybe once or twice per set.
That's why they're in rehearsal right now. So she's trying to squeeze in.
Right. She's trying to figure out where the finger gun happened.
Right. Because Phil says more finger guns.
Yeah. Right. And also, Breeze is one of those players that we pointed it out in the first season when we had them on, that there's moments where you can see him as a musician playing a song, and then you see him as a listener of the music, enjoying the moment. And it happens in there too, where it's just you see this person enjoying this, and like it's his music, and it's just so fun to watch.
There is something to be said for those moments where you are both a musician in the band making the music happen and a fan of the music without like being indulgent about it, like in the sense of like my music is the best. More along the lines of you're appreciating what somebody else in the band has done, because there are times when perhaps you've written a song or written part of a song and somebody else does something and your brain goes like this. Oh my God, that's so much better than anything I could ever think of. And you realize that moment, like that's why this is a band.
Correct.
And not me being Madonna.
Sure.
Where you're like orchestrating every nuance to the sense of like what sells me 4 more albums kind of thing.
Yep, 100%. 100%.
Also, if Madonna is available, we'll be happy to talk to Madonna.
Well, interview her. I guess that's fine.
Everybody's got somebody that hasn't heard of her.
Your
next favorite
Your next favorite, huh? So, second band of the Palooza was Whitehall. Whitehall out of Charleston, South Carolina. And the big news for them was they just got signed to open for the Goo Goo Dolls in the fall.
Oh, good. That's a solid gig.
That's a big gig for
It's
them.
a solid gig. That'll be a good tour because that's like a professionally. It's nice to be attached to a tour that has a lot of professional support to it, like in the sense that, like, all of those sort of big picture decisions have already been made, and that lets you focus as a musician to be a good musician.
Yes. Yeah. So here is their my favorite song by them called Mexico. They played it acoustically on our show back in April. And here's their full band version, which totally crushes.
As you mentioned, if you want to hear a totally different take on this, they played it acoustic. I mean, it was fully acoustic. It was whatever. It
was just the two lead singer and Avery, the lead guitarist, playing guitar, and that was it. So it was definitely acoustic. And I asked them to play it because it's my favorite, and they were like, "Yeah, we could." I think we can do that. And so it was the first time they ever even tried to do it acoustic, but to the brilliance of musicians.
Sure.
They've knocked it out.
Well, it's also the type of a good song that it holds up when you decide to do something different.
Right.
I mean, there's famous ones for that, right? Like, I mean, well, no offense to Whitehall, but you take something like Aretha Franklin singing Respect, which is an actual Otis Redding cover.
Right.
Like, it's not the original of Aretha Franklin. The song has got so much like strength to it then it holds up.
Right. No, totally. So hopefully this holds up. Mexico by Whitehall. Wish them all the best. There was one other picture I wanted to bring in here, and this is a good transition to the end of of Saturday. Carver Commodore, Whitehall was their opener last fall.
Right.
So they know each other, and they were coming from Pittsburgh, and they made sure they got here in enough time. So this is like right before Whitehall is ready to go on. They came like screeching in, like.
It was super Starsky and Hutch.
Yeah, and so they went up on stage and said hi, and they were exchanging their love for each other. Because they genuinely appreciated each other's music, each other's approach to things.
And while that was happening, we're going to get to the next step, which is Carver Commodore.
Yes.
They made a mention from the from the stage that members of Whitehall, maybe the whole band, were just chilling in the audience
and Pepperwine. So
to watch the show.
By the middle of the Carver Commodore show, Whitehall and Pepperwine were joining in for the Carver Commodore show. So that was another fun part about that whole day because so many just utter respect going on for each other of these musicians, and not necessarily close, because here's Whitehall on South Side, Carver and Pepperwine North Side, and they all checked each other out as far as their sets and stuff.
Especially since you're for somebody from out of town, the logistics of moving around in that space when you don't know where you're going, it is worth, like, that's them making the effort. And that goes a long way.
Absolutely. So Carver Commodore, Florence, Alabama. They are touring currently. They play in September in Philly on September 17th on a Saturday. The night before, they're in New York City. The night afterwards, so that like 16th New York, 17th Philly, 18th Boston. So they are kind of local here. If
that Philly to Boston leg is a longer one.
Yeah, if they could have done Philly, New York, Boston, that would have been way better. But hey,
routing is what it is.
It is what it is. So anyway, here is one of their big hits called Misty Eyes.
Something years of life. Many of us right now, many of you down, but you can't feel justified. Everyone begins in this life. This step back, got life that you give. Don't you cry, tonight,
Completely brought it for 90 minutes.
And it was in the blocks that you were, it was in
Zins and
blocks,
Yep.
in the space that you mentioned as of all of them was your favorite of the places this year.
This is definitely a classic Volkspots type band.
Yes, absolutely would have been in the past. They would have played Volkspots.
Yep.
You talk about it like you were swimming in the flood, waiting for the band to show up.
A fun tidbit later on in the show, the bassist David split his pants. Quite obviously. Not like, did he just split his pants? Like, it was just completely ripped straight through. And so he played like the last 3 songs of this set with some aeration to the undercarriage.
Well, it was hot. I mean...
Yeah, I'm sure it helped him.
It wasn't impossibly hot at that point in time, thankfully.
There's these cool moments in their songs like this, and they just have such a fun time. So yeah, there's Misty Eyes. Got to give credit to my boy Phillip on guitar there too. He's definitely another very strong guitarist.
You're only saying that because his name is the same as yours? No, I have to say that the bassist named David also sounds to me awesome as a result of that.
See, you can't call me out on that one without
I can't do it without making fun of myself.
Making yourself look,
which I'm happy to.
Little,
what does that shirt say?
Little sus.
Happy to make myself into an ass if it takes everyone down in the process.
So that kind of brings us into Sunday, the last day of the festival.
Sure.
And we had two great moments at the end of the festival. One was a good friend of ours, friend of the show, been on the show. One of our, probably, whenever anyone asks me, what interview should I start with?
Okay.
I always say Ryan Tennis.
Ryan is a good interviewee
Yes.
because he talks in stories.
Yes. And he has great stories to tell.
Sure. But it's not. He doesn't just yes or no
Nope.
or strawberry, like give you like a one-word answer kind of thing. It's
no.
He talks
not
in
the light.
stories,
and he doesn't shy away from topics that might be a little bit
not at all. Yeah.
edgier or whatever. Like, he's a great interview, great talk, and he's met us down at shows in Philly. Like, he's such a cool guy too. But he came out with some new music in this last year called Hey Roller Coaster was the album.
Correct.
And the first single is Alligator. And so here is Ryan Tennis's song Alligator.
I made a hit music video to this with Emily's brother, who's really a fantastic filmmaker. And this song is coming from, it's called Alligator. I got off my ass and took a walk down the railroad tracks. One tire per step's too small, 2 tires my stride's too long. Yeah, so it's a balancing act. I could walk down a rail, but not too fast. Yeah. If I slip, just flip my hips and skip the rail to the other one. And even this didn't go for the groceries. You don't want to miss any groceries. Put the bread in the box in the pantry. Yeah, you make sure you stock supplementary. Wash the dishes in the sink before they stack it up. Because the moment that you're in, they all be acted up. I guess I'll take another look at the refrigerator. I'm just a man and you do it.
Another good anthem.
It's a fun sort of sing-along thing.
So, in addition to Ryan being amazing here, the bassist was crushing.
We discussed that specifically on the side of this show, which was, so it's worth mentioning, we'll get to this in just a second, but he is, we're getting a little bit of it during this song, but it was really interesting to see somebody with such musicality play in this environment like that, where it's very song-based kind of thing, and this guy brings in a whole set of chops without ever getting in the way of the song, and he was just sitting there going like this. Good. He's sitting there going like this. He's really good.
Yeah, no, he's really, really good.
Really good.
Yeah. Also really, really good. The backup vocals here is Emily Drinker, who is a star in her own right.
Yeah, she was a surprise for me. I went down with a friend of my wife's who had actually mentioned I want to come up and see Emily Drinker.
Yeah.
He went to a show in Sellersville, which is a town south of here, and she opened for the artist. And
wow.
She opened as a solo artist, and he wanted to come see her at Musikfest because she was playing with the whole band.
Yep.
And she's an excellent guitar player. She's an excellent singer. She does this very cool thing with when she's performing on her own. With she does some cool vocal stacking loops with her vocals. So she was a nice surprise, and definitely one of those ones felt like, we need to dive deeper into that. At least myself.
Totally.
So,
yeah, she's amazing, and I think she just won something at the Philly Folk Fest.
Yeah, there was. You're not wrong. I remember we also discussed that.
Yep.
Or maybe it wasn't a write-up, but either way, she won a some sort of distinction that I can't put my finger on it at the time.
So anyway, Ryan, amazing. Emily Drinker, amazing. The whole band is really, really good.
Yeah, great band.
Yeah, and Ryan also does something at his house called Tracks at the Vale. He lives down near Philly, and he puts on shows in his own backyard. Hires 3-4 musicians to play, and it's kind of like a pay as you want kind of admission, but really cool vibe there. And
yeah, he's he's a pretty chill guy to begin with.
Oh yeah, totally. And then the last one we're going to feature here was another one of those, like I said, two moments from Sunday. One, a good friend of ours who crushed their set. And then another one was the Musikfest moment of, wow, I'd never heard that band before and I can't stop listening to them, was a band called Royale.
Correct.
Out of Missouri.
Yeah.
Was highly impressed with them.
It's two brothers. The guitarist and the keyboardist are brothers, so you get the cool harmony factor from the brother factor.
Yep.
Cool little indie rock groove thing going on.
Yep.
They put on great show, lots of energy. And we should listen to them.
Yeah, let's bring on Royale.
Drinking the same old coffee, try to be cool like the ones who always talking, living it or staying the way life happened to us. Now they don't see us cause we're gone, we're never going back. We want some notice, show us grace, play for everybody, let's touch us every stay. We want some notice, we don't get paid, we play for anybody, hold down.
And this drummer might give Tom from Slingshot Dakota a run for his money. This is another person that I'm like, find yourself somebody who loves you the way this guy loves hitting the drums.
Wow, that sounds interestingly tough.
Yeah.
Like the way that's described. They also had their friend, and I'm using this word because I believe that was the case with working the merch table for them, which is always a good thing for these independent bands. Walked around during the show and was handing out Royale stickers to everybody in the crowd.
Perfect.
And that's a good idea, folks. Because you see so many bands and the names are getting slippery.
Yep.
Especially when you're there for one day.
Yep.
It's a great way to do it.
Yep. And also, I think he might do it here. The drummer stands up. I've never seen a drummer stand up.
Yeah, we talked about that. The Violent Femmes drummer does the same thing. Like that's the only other reference that I can make when you brought that up when we were watching.
Yeah, I just never saw that happen. Like he was drumming and all of a sudden he was standing. Like he just couldn't help himself in the greatest way possible.
Sure, he was excited. I mean, that's a good thing, right? I mean, it wasn't just It's not Tommy Lee.
Yeah,
Motley Crue.
I mean, it builds from here, and just trust us. Check out Royale. Go see them live.
Yeah, they're touring heavily right now.
Yeah.
So on the East Coast of the U.S., at least when we're recording this, I don't know where they're going to be later.
So when we engaged with them, they said they would interview in November because I think their tour goes through October. So they
look
again
forward to November. We're speaking with them.
Spoiler alert: Royale most likely on the show. Some other people that we talked to who gave us at least a yes-ish. Darling Sons we talked about. Emily Drinker actually said she would do an interview. Marielle Kraft, she was on the first weekend. Really liked her sound. Terrible Orange Things. They're a local band. I thought they were pretty great.
Win points for good band name.
Awesome band name.
Yeah.
And you know, I was hoping for an amazing T-shirt. They didn't have any merch, but was hoping for a Terrible Orange Things T-shirt. Jackson Pines, another great local band. Carsey Blanton, Hotel Fiction, Royale. We just mentioned them. So those are the ones that we're in conversations with to bring on the show, to be able to share their stories, hear a little bit more about their experience, and a little bit more about their music. Yeah, hopefully they can. We love when they play live, so hopefully they can all play live. Doesn't always happen, but we're hoping for that. So there, we said we would be 45 minutes or less. So there you go, 43 minutes and 14 seconds.
Sure, minus an hour.
An hour and 43. But
I mean, it's only a placeholder, right? I mean,
exactly. No, I mean, I think we were excited to share some of the video we caught, some of the best moments we found, and we didn't talk about food. What was your favorite food that you had during the Musikfest? It's a big part of it.
We did talk about food right at the very beginning. We talked about poutine
We
specifically.
lasered in on poutine.
The one that was the jump out to me that was that thing I'd never had before was the French toast bites.
French toast bites were great.
I had those, though I did drop half the whipped cream on the ground.
Yipes.
Yeah, it wasn't good. There was there's no clever story.
Yep.
It was just me being clumsy.
Yeah.
So
one of my favorites, and it goes back to when I asked Ryan. I was like, Ryan, what was your favorite moment of Musikfest? His response was that gyro.
Well,
and I said, no, I meant music. But good point. The gyros are outstanding. So Theo's Gyros, shout out to you all because that is an outstanding little bundle of heaven that you deliver to human beings.
I like a good gyro because
Yes.
I'm going to flex.
Yeah,
a little,
you flex it.
A little Greek pronunciation on that one, but
Mhm.
it is the that is a favorite walk around food for
Totally.
me. Like,
Yep.
if you can fold something in some sort of
Mhm.
like that's where tacos are that same category of food.
Yep.
Like, I'm like, yes, I'm into that.
Yes, yeah. And the other two I would mention is the food truck, like it's FUD with umlauts and
Yes, with
whatnot.
an umlaut over the U.
They
That was quite good. I had
the brown and white,
No, we had
and then the Emmaus hot chicken.
the Emmaus hot chicken. Is
Those
what I
two
had.
sandwiches, put them up against anything.
That was a good sandwich.
Yeah, both of those are amazing, and they're like handmade kettle chips are fantastic. And then that's on South Side. North Side had the Cubano Express or something like that.
Oh, yeah, I had that last year too. Last year.
Yeah.
Home
Cubano
run.
is
Home run,
total
home run.
home run. So those are my go-tos, and can't go wrong.
No. So the only thing I pulled this up on my phone, so we're sitting here. So Musikfest has also announced the dates for 2023.
Yeah,
Since we're recounting,
this is a good way to close.
Since we're going to count Musikfest 2022 as a
Yes.
close, we have 345 days until Musikfest.
How many minutes and
2023.
hours?
So it's 344 days, 3 hours, 44 minutes, and 40 seconds right now.
Perfect. Mark it down.
August 4th, 2023.
We want to see you all join us next year. We want to hit the plotzes together, and definitely please. We got some Carver comments here. Catch you next time. P.S. Had some Wild Buffalo chicken cheesesteaks and pad thai. Wonder where they got pad thai from.
There was. Now we can talk about it another time. I think it was on the north side.
Must have been north side.
There was
They were playing there, yeah.
Yeah.
But Carver, definitely going to catch you down in Philly on Saturday the 17th. So hopefully we
what
can.
month?
September. Thanks. We mentioned it before. Listen, you keep me honest.
I'm going to put it in context.
Context is huge. So anyway, thank you all, and look forward to releasing some of this stuff out as edited kind of best of versions, and then put August behind us and start to do just more of our traditional interviews.
Yep.
We're going to try and do one a week, or instead of trying to do 2 in a month all together.
Yep.
We're going to try and spread them out, and there's so many good musicians to talk to. A lot of them from Musikfest, like we talked about here, but some other bands that we're talking to that didn't play Musikfest this year that have played other years. Ceramic Animal, The Family Crest, March 4th. These are other people who we're talking to about interviewing in the fall and the winter.
Yeah, looking forward to all of them.
Yeah.
Along with talking to people that are, as you put it through your thing, music adjacent.
Music adjacent, yeah.
Yeah, so we have a lot of great conversations. coming
Yeah,
from-
accessible festivals, who are the people who make sure the festival can handle either people who are wheelchair bound or need sign language to understand
Yeah,
what's being said.
I'm actually really looking forward to talking to
Yeah.
them because these kind of festivals should be for people.
Everyone, exactly.
Define that. Yes, I've got people.
Yes, if you want to hear the music, you should be able to hear it. So we're going to talk with them to learn more about what they bring to festivals, and a couple other things. Again, just kind of like supportive of musicians, music festivals, and such. So a lot of good stuff coming up, and can't wait to share it with all of you. And would love to have you like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and definitely. Comment in the during our streams, because we love to engage with you all, share your questions, hear what you're thinking, all of your feedback. But anyway, happy Musikfest 2022.
I'm looking forward to Musikfest 2023.
And let's put it behind us. Time to say goodbye.
All right, Phil, let's say goodbye to everybody.
Thank you to Bond Place Brewing for letting us host our Musikfest recap from here and enjoy their delicious beer. And thank you to Godfrey Daniels for letting us do the live stream all week during Musikfest. And then kudos to all of the bands who not only performed during Musikfest, but let us kind of share their music and their talent and expertise and songwriting here on the show, especially to those who joined in tonight. Loved seeing Pepperwine, Carver Commodore, They're There, Mike Lorenz, and some of our other, your next favorite fans like Colleen Bad Warhol and Jeremy And who else? I feel like I'm on what was that show? Reading Rainbow or something where they, yeah. It's definitely not that show, but something where we look into the window and we see everybody. But anyway, thank you all for tuning in. It's been a fun month. Totally different programming. So if this is what you've only seen so far, August is definitely an anomaly. And we can't wait to get back to the more traditional programming for September, October, November. But we've got lots of other cool stuff planned. And can't wait to see you out at a live show soon.
All over now.